Welcome everyone to this new amazing video in which we will build a currency exchanger app so you can convert some amount of money from a currency to another, and we'll do this with an API that we can access with Ktor from our app. We'll also use Queen for dependency injection. You will see how to create view models, how to create compose screens, repositories, and all the good stuff in clean architecture. We'll also use MVI for our presentation layer, and in general you will build a clean architecture solid app that you can have in your GitHub or on your website to show off. And to support me to make more playlists and videos just like this, subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends. So let's see the app now. So here's the app in dark theme. We can obviously switch to light theme just like this, and initially we'll convert $1 to euros to see how much we get. We can do, for example, $12 or just leave that, do just $6, whatever we want. We can clear everything, and simply with every input we actually make an API call to get the amount or the result of this conversion. We can click on this euro to actually tell what we want to convert to. So right here we can find a lot of currencies, more than 100 currency, and they are sorted, so you can just go find your currency. For example, me in Morocco, it should be just somewhere here. Here's my currency, Moroccan dirham. $1 is just 9 dirhams. I can definitely select another currency to convert from like this. So for example, this one, and one from this currency is also 9 dirhams, just like dollars, and definitely I can choose another one like this. Now it's only 5 dirhams. So it's a fully functioning app. You can input 2 zeros in here. You can add dots or comma to have more numbers. After that, you can just delete one number. You can clear everything, and the app is fully functioning. So what we want to do is add some dependencies. Let's go to our build.gradle, actually to libs.versions first, to add the versions and the libraries. Before doing that, if you want to become an advanced developer in this clean architecture and all the industry level skills, then you can check my premium course in the description that will make you exactly do that by building a solid app with more features and more complexity, and also building a Ktor backend. All of that in one course. You can find its link in the description. Now we will need these libraries. We can upgrade or update this compose build of materials. We want to use this newer Kotlin version actually, so 1.9.24. We then paste the libraries in here. So as I said, we'll use Ktor to make the API calls. So here for the engine, it's going to be CIO, content negotiation to be able to convert a JSON object to our data class object, core, just a core Ktor library, and then logging in to see actually the requests we make. Ktor client serialization JSON. I'm not sure if we need this one, honestly, but we'll see. Not sure because we have content negotiation. But however, Queen for dependency injection, here are libraries. The new type safe navigation in Jetpack compose, so we need compose library and this Kotlin X serialization JSON. So I think we won't actually need this one since we have this one, because they could be the same, I'm not sure. Anyway, we need extended libraries, extended icons, I mean, to get more icons. We can then add these two bundles for Queen and Ktor, and as I said, maybe we don't need this one, so I'm going to remove it and keep it unused. And so if we get some error, then we know that we need it. We also want to add this Kotlin plugin serialization to our plugins, sync the project, and then let's go to build.gradle, the top level one, to add that Kotlin plugin again. Kotlin serialization plugin, so apply false, go to the build.gradle where we need to add libraries now. First of all, add the plugin again, and then go down here. Maybe we also need to update the Kotlin compiler. It's going to be 1.5.14 because we updated our Kotlin version. And then we can paste the dependencies in here for Ktor, Queen, extended icons, and navigation. Sync the project, and that's all you need. Now, let's go to our root package right here to do some stuff. And since it's a clean architecture app and we have only one feature in this app, let's create packages for that. So package for presentation. Inside it, we'll have this UI and main activity, since that's UI related. And then we'll create another package called domain, and then another one called data. So package data like this. Now let's start from our domain, which is always what I love to start from. We first of all want to have a currency data class. So currency, and the currency consists of two things: val name of the currency, so for example US dollar or so, and then val code. So in this case, it's going to be USD string as well. And then we want to have our repository, just the abstraction here. So it's going to be exchange repository, make that an interface that will have one function. So suspend fun convert, for example, that will take a from currency, that is a string, of course only the code. This could be base currency or from currency, that will be a better name, and then duplicate that to currency, and then the amount. of type double. This should return a double, which is the result of the conversion. And then actually we need another function which is going to return all the currencies that we can convert from and to. So suspend fun get all currencies, return a list of currency. Definitely here we can make this one of type currency, but since we just need the code, I'm just going to provide the code. And then we want to have a use case, which is the convert use case that handles all the logic, business logic needed for the conversion. So convert use case, that is going to be a class. We will need to inject a private val the repository. So our convert repository, maybe that's what I called it, or exchange repository like this. We want to have a suspend fun, actually a suspend operator fun that is invoke. This one again is going to have the same stuff, so I'm just going to copy them and paste them right here. This will return a string, which is the result of the conversion, because from the repository we get a double. Here we need a string since we can show a string in our UI. Anyway, the logic is going to be if from currency dot is blank, then definitely return an empty string. If to currency is also blank, then again return an empty string. There is nothing to convert. If amount dot is blank, actually amount in this case is going to be a string because we get a string from the UI, and we'll see why. Then we want to return an empty string as well. And then we want to get the amount double. So val amount double like this, that is going to be amount dot to double or null. If that is null, again return an empty string. And then another thing, actually, before even doing this, I'm going to check that if from currency is equal to currency. So I'm trying to convert from to the same currency, then I just want to return the amount. It's the same currency. Right here, I can then do the conversion. So I can say val result exchange repository dot convert, passing my from currency to currency and amount double. Here I get the result, and I can return result dot to string since result is a double. That's it for the domain layer of our app. And now we can go and work on the data layer. For this we need first of all a DTO. Now let's check the API, which is this one, exchange rate API. We want to go to the documentation, but before that let's get an API key. So click on get free API key. So just click on this, it will take you somewhere. You will see an API key. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to show my API key, but just click on it, you will see an API key. Copy that. However, for you also need to create an account. And now let's go to the documentation. Creating an account is easy. You just enter your name and email and some information. So you go to the documentation here and then come to paid conversion. Here is actually what you get from the response. This is the base URL, the API key, pair, and then what we want to convert from, and then what we want to convert to, and then the amount. And here we get the result, which is something like this. If there is an error, it's probably going to be something like this, but we won't get any errors. Now we want to create the DTO from this actual JSON object. You can do that with this plugin. Let me just show it to you. So you want to come here, click on create a new thing, which is this Kotlin data class from JSON. To get it, you want to go to the settings right here and go to plugins. I'm not sure what plugins are, so right here and search for it, install it, and restart Android Studio, and you will get it. So create a new Kotlin data class from JSON, paste the JSON, call it, let's say exchange DTO maybe, or convert to DTO, whatever. Click on generate, and it will be actually generated. So it's exactly what we see right here. We have a lot of things, but actually the only thing we want is the result, but we just skip the other things. And for Ktor, we need to annotate this with serializable so that Ktor can convert this from the JSON response that it gets to this data class. And then we want to go to our data layer to create the repository. But for the repository, we need an HTTP client, which is of course a Ktor HTTP client. Let's do that first by creating a new package called DI to provide that right here. Let's call it app module or core module, and then copy the name because we need it. Maybe core needs to be like this. Make that just a file. That is going to be val core module. That is going to be a module that comes from Queen. Now let's first provide the use case. So a single like this, that is going to be my, maybe I call it convert use case, and get like this, since we need to inject an instance of exchange repository, which is something we don't have yet. We'll do that later. And then let's create another single for our HTTP client. So it's going to be an HTTP client the engine is going to be CEO as we had in here. So just the engine that runs this client, and then expect success is going to be true. Here we want to open an engine block and then endpoint to configure some things. Here we want to say keep alive time 5 seconds and then connect timeout again 5 seconds. Should just how long should we try to connect to this endpoint and all that stuff, and then connect attempts is going to be 3. So try to connect 3 times to this endpoint. If you fail 3 times, then that's it, you can't do anything. Then we want to do install content negotiation. We want JSON. Now I can clearly see that we need it, so it's going to be JSON like this. Let's actually add that. It's going to be this one. We already used these, even though it shows we don't use them. So put it in here and then a comma, sync the project, and then we want to open a JSON block again. Let's try importing this now. Print is going to be true, and I will explain these. Is lenient, maybe that's how it's pronounced, is also true, and then ignore unknown keys is also true. So here we install the content negotiation that makes us convert the body response to a specific format, which is our data class. So here from JSON, so that we specify here that we want to serialize and deserialize JSON to our data class. And here we open this JSON block to just specify some configurations. Print means just make the response that we get more human readable, so make the body that we get more readable. And then is lenient, if that's how it's pronounced, just means accept things like trailing commas and all that stuff. And here ignore unknown keys. For example, if we have some field in our JSON and then we don't have it in our data class, so right here, just ignore those. So we can actually do that. So delete all of those stuff and keep the one that we need, which is result. That means ignore everything and only keep the one that we need. So all of those are unknown, so we'll ignore them. And then go ahead and install another plugin that is default request. We want to add a header right here, and then it's going to be http client.content. There's going to be http headers.content type and content type dot application .json. This just means with every request we make, we want to have a default header. That is, in this case, the data being sent is of type JSON, so that the server knows how to handle it. And then we want to install one last plugin that is going to be login, and this is just to print what we actually get. So logger is going to be an anonymous object of type logger. Open that and let's override this function or implement that. We just want to print line. In this case, if you want to use Timber, any other login library, then you can definitely do that in here. In my case, I'm just going to print the message. After that, here level is going to be log level.all. So just log everything out. That's it. Now we can go to create our repository implementation. So a new Kotlin class, let's call it exchange repository implementation like this. That needs a constructor in which we are going to inject our private vol HTTP client of type HTTP client, which is exactly what we just provided in our DI or core module. We want to implement the exchange repository and override all the functions. And just format this so that you can see everything like this, and here as well. For the all currencies, you can find them right here. So supported currencies, here they are, all of these. So more than 100 currency, I suppose, 161, which is a lot. And here they are. So I just used ChatGPT to actually create this list for me of all the currencies. Remember, this is the currency data class we created. The name is this one. The code is this one. Now let's try making the API call. But before that, let's first also define our base URL, or first of all, the tag, private vol tag that we can just use to print what's going on. That's going to be class name. So just like this, a comment and space. We need the base URL. Private vol, you want to put this base URL in a more safer place. For example, a local config file, or not the base URL itself, but the API key, or also the base URL, and then don't push that to Git, since you don't want anyone to have your API key. So base URL like this, that is going to be this one that we have in our documentation. So all the way right here. Here then you want to create an API key. Here you want to have your secret API key that no one should see. Now we can make the request. So it's going to be a vol result that we get from the request of type exchange DTO, since that's the result that we expect from the request. That is going to be our HTTP client dot get. And then what you want to get is, let's construct that. It's going to be my base URL slash, since now I have the base URL, then put a slash, which is this slash that we have right here, as you can see it, the API key. So slash API key, another slash followed by pair like this. So pair, another slash followed by from currency to currency and the amount. From currency slash $sign to currency slash the amount. That's the request that we will make to get the response from the API. And then dot body, we can print it to make sure that it's actually what we want. So tag plus result dot result, which is this result string that we have in there. And eventually it's going to be this result. Actually, not result, I'm sorry. It's going to be conversion result. Okay, so that's actually a mistake. This one is supposed to be conversion result, not result. Result is just a success or a failure, but we want a conversion result. And then we can return our results. So return result dot conversion result. And that is actually a double, not a string. So double. Well, in this case, since I don't have the UI yet, I may just make a mistake and make too many requests that I don't need. So what I actually love to do is comment this out and then just return amount times 0.5. While I'm just testing the app, I will just return this. And then when I actually want to see if the app actually converts, I want to use this. I don't want to make like many requests by mistake. Now let's actually try creating the view model to see if we do make the requests or not. So in our presentation layer right here, create a new view model. Let's just call it main, or let's call it exchange view model, whatever you want to call it. So exchange view model, that is going to be a view model like this. And here we definitely need the use case. So private var use case of type convert use case, but let's call it convert use case. We also need the repository to just get all the currencies. So private var, that is exchange repository. In our init block, we are going to do a request, but for that we first need to create a little state in here. So let's call it exchange state. Let's do that as a data class. We want to have a val from currency again. That is going to be of type currency, and by default it's going to be currency. That is, let me just actually paste them since I don't want to make any mistake here. So like this. So from currency, that is going to be United States dollar and the code is USD, to currency that is going to be euro and the code is this one, AUR. These are just the two default ones that we get initially from the app. And then val amount that we want to convert of type string. Since we want to deal with strings only, it's going to be 1. So by default, we want to convert $1 to euro and then duplicate this for the result. There is going to be an empty string by default until we get the result, and then it will actually be the result. And then var all currencies, that is going to be of type list of currency, and it is equal to an empty list. That's the state. We want to create a compose state right here. So private var, let's say state, that is going to be by mutable state of my exchange state. Import like that. And as well, this is actually supposed to be a var, not private var. And then we want to do private set, since we don't want to change this from the outside of this view model. Now let's create a helper function that will do the conversions. So private fun convert, and we need a view model scope for that. Dot launch, we want to update our state. Dot copy like this the results. We just want to get the result from our convert use case. So why we use the invoke operator function, just like this, as you can see, I don't have to call any function. I can just directly use my use case, and then I want to pass from currency. There is going to be state dot from dot code, since remember from is of type currency, and inside currency we have, and then to currency, there is going to be state dot to.code, and then the amount is going to be state.amount. That's what we want to pass to our use case. And we can do now the conversion in our init block, so convert. So we can just see if we actually do get something. And then the other function that we need here is just get all currencies. We don't have to worry about that. Anyway, we want to go to our DI to provide the two things that we just created, which are our repository and the view model. So here a single of that is going to be my exchange repository implementation double comment dot bind. We want to bind that to the abstraction that is our exchange repository, and then we can go ahead and provide our view model. So let's do that there right here. Single actually view model, that is going to be my exchange view model. We want to do get for the use case and then another get for the repository. And actually that's it for our module. We still need to add the app class. Oops, I closed that. Now I don't know how to open it. Here it is. I want to create an app class. So app, let's do that as a class. Application, we want to extend application, not that application, actually this one. We want to have the onCreate function to start queen. To start queen, we need the context that is going to be maybe underwood context this at app. and then modules. In this case, we'll have only one module. That is going to be my main or core module, core module. That's it right here. We want to go to our manifest to register that. So name with the name attribute app. And maybe I also need the user permission, internet permission, since we want to make a request. Now, I just want to go to our main activity, create an instance of that view model. Let me just delete this greeting, composable, all of that stuff. And right here, also delete the skiff or just skip it. We'll need the scaffold later. Let's put a little column in here that just fills the max size. Modifier.fill max size. And then before that, let's give it some padding. Padding, that is going to be our inner padding. So right here, let's create our view model. That is going to be a var view model of type main or exchange view model. That's what I called it. That is going to be a queen view model. And then let me just have a little text in here, since now immediately the request will be made, and let me get the result of the conversion. So a little text that says view model dot state dot result. I need to make that a little bigger, so font size, let's say 20.sp, import sp. And then I don't know if we can see this, so font, just color, that is going to be material theme dot color scheme dot on background, and let's give this a background material theme dot color scheme dot background here. Let's center that something like a vertical arrangement dot center, and horizontal alignment dot center horizontally. We can now run the app to see if we get the result. For that, let's go to our repository and uncomment this, because we don't want to accidentally make too many requests. Copy the tag, go to our logcat, paste the tag, and the moment of truth, run the app. Actually, it won't work. I need the API key right here. So I'm going to add my API key. So I added my API key, but I'm not going to show it to you because it's a secret. So I have my API key, run the app, and hopefully everything works. The app is running and the conversion is working. As you can see here, a look at, let me just bring this here. The exchange result is this one, which means our data layer, our domain layer, our view model are all working fine. And this is it now for this video. And the reason why I stopped right here is that there's a lot going on in the UI. Let's actually see that one more time. As you can see, there are these inputs in here that need to be aligned just like this. We have this cool looking section where we have these colors, and we have this currency selector or picker, which is a drop down menu like this, and a lot going on with the UI. So I think that needs its own video, which is the next video, to make the user make the conversion, select how much money they want to convert from which currency to which currency. And remember that if you want to take your skills to the next level in the Android development, check my premium course that will make you exactly do that by building a solid industry level app with all the industry necessary skills like clean architecture, Jetpack, Compose, dependency injection, and more. Also support me by subscribing and leaving a like in this video and sharing it with your friends. See you in the next video in which we build the UI. Bye.